Ronnie was cleaning his teeth one morning. What a nuisance they are, he was thinking. Teeth are damp. Always need cleaning. They're worse than shoes. Those shoes get muddy, at least teeth don't get muddy. Not unless, of course, you start eating fields. There was a sign in the bathroom, an electric neon sign, that usually flashed on and off like the ones in Piccadilly Circus. It lit up one letter after another and spelt out the message, "Now clean your teeth." For the time being, the sign was broken down on Mum's orders. She'd pulled the wires out. Dad had fixed the sign up. He was a bit of an electrical genius. I forget which bit. In fact, he regarded himself as an inventor. "Me boy," he would often say, "there's a fortune to be made in sitting right here." And then he'd add, "Don't think I'm asleep, Mother. I'm waiting for inspiration. It often comes in dreams." Mum looked grim. That's why he'd married her. "That boy," she'd say, "standing up there watching that sign all day, he'll never get to school in the morning." But Dad just laughed. He wasn't one to let criticism get him down. "There's a fortune to be made in standing still," he said. "That's how the escalator was invented." Dad had installed an escalator in place of the old stairs, and Mum found it very inconvenient. It moved upwards for half the year, and then Dad reversed the machinery so that it moved downwards for the other 6 months. "Pass that tin of baked beans, will you, dear?" asked Dad. "I'm going to conduct an experiment on it." "Why? What are you going to do with it?" "I'm going to eat it and call it breakfast." Dad was recording all these early morning conversations for posterity, he said. "They'll begin to mean something by the year 2000, he explained. In the bathroom, Ronnie stared at the broken sign, thinking how much he wanted his family to be happy. Just lately, Mum would go whole days without speaking to Dad, and Dad would give Ronnie messages for her, such as, "Where did you put my freshly ironed shirt, dear?" And Mum would give Ronnie the answer, "It's not freshly ironed, and the cat's sitting on it." It was the next door's cat, and some days it would come in and sit on Dad's laundry. "Well," said Dad, "if I lived with the people next door, I'd want to come in here and sit on my laundry. Now, there's one thing for sure. I wouldn't go in there and sit on their laundry. I might fall through the holes." Ronnie laughed as he remembered the conversation. It was one of Dad's tapes recorded a few days ago. It could become a favourite, that one. The cat tape. Dad went on to say, "That cat knows a good bit of laundry when it sees it. It's good luck having your shirt pressed by a cat sitting on it. It's better than steam ironing. It doesn't get damp. The cat's from next door's not damp. It's the only thing that isn't. See that patch on the wall? That's damp. That's from Mrs. Pritchett next door. She's been leaning against it." Even Mum had to laugh at that. Yes, there were good days and bad. All in all, Ronnie would say he'd come from a happy family, though his parents didn't seem to be getting on as well these days as they used to. "Ronnie, hurry up. You're late for school." That was Mum calling from downstairs. "Goodbye, Ronnie. Farewell," he heard Dad shout. "I'm off to walk for a bit of peace and quiet." The door slammed. "No!" Got his finger trapped. Had he cleaned his teeth? Ronnie had forgotten. Better clean them again to make sure. He picked up the tube of toothpaste and squeezed the contents out onto the bristles of his brush, halfway up the handle and halfway up his arms. Nothing unusual about that. He liked a good mouthful of paste. But as he lifted the brush to his mouth, he saw something written on the ribbon of the paste. "Help! I am a prisoner in a toothpaste factory!" Ronnie stared at it. Was this a new make of toothpaste? He was used to the ribbon variety with its special flavour, but he'd never had messages in it before. Play it cool, he thought, and he quickly cleaned his teeth and went downstairs. "Mum," he said, trying to sound casual as he gathered up his school satchel, "I know a man who's a prisoner in a toothpaste factory." "I'm a prisoner in this house," replied Mum. "Now hurry up and get off to school." "Where do they exactly make toothpaste, Mum?" asked Ronnie. Mum looked at him. "I gave up a career to have you," she said. "I'm sorry," chirped Ronnie. "What were you going to be, Mum?" "How should I know?" she said. "I've never had time to find out." Ronnie puzzled on this. Well, Dad could stay at home and you could go out to work. He thought this might be more fun. "I'm not trained for anything," exclaimed Mother. "Ooh, you could be a lion tamer." "Don't worry, Mum. I'll think of something. Leave it to me." Mum kissed him. "I'm not saying that I'd rather not have had you." "Thanks," said Ronnie. "Bye-bye." He knew Mum loved him, and as he hurried to school, he decided he would find her a career. Maybe she could be a High Court judge or a traffic warden. Anyway, he would look after her when he was older. And until then, he would look after her while he was younger. All day long at school, Ronnie thought about the prisoner in the toothpaste factory. "I bet he's not the only one," he thought. "There must be lots more prisoners." He made a plan. After school, he would hurry home to clean his teeth again and see if there were any more messages. When he got home, Mum was waiting for him. She seemed more cheerful and was reading a woman's magazine. "Hello, Ronnie," she said. "I've decided to make some cushions." "Don't you want to be a lion tamer now, then?" asked Ronnie, disappointed. "Mum, we need a bit of adventure in life. You'll soon get fed up making those cushions. Then you'll start throwing them around the room, shouting, 'I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored.'" Nonsense, Mum replied, as she happily rummaged for material. Ronnie was impatient to get upstairs. I'll just go up and clean my teeth, he said. Before tea? Well, I didn't clean them the day before yesterday, so I've got a bit of catching up to do. He scooted up the escalator and into the bathroom. He needed more information. There had to be another message. But the tube of toothpaste had vanished. Dad came home early from work and cleaned his teeth, Mum said. Did he use the rest of the tube up? Oh, he must have done. Was Dad getting messages too? Why did he come home early from work? Just to clean his teeth? A likely story. It's your father's half day. All right, but he wouldn't spend all afternoon cleaning his teeth because he's got half a day off, would he, Mum? What's the matter with you, Ronnie? Your father's gone to see Uncle Roger. They're building a new chicken shed. Did he take the toothpaste with him? Of course he didn't. Chickens don't have teeth. Ronnie pondered on this. A new chicken shed? Yes, his uncle did have chickens. But they built a new shed last month, Mum. Perhaps the chickens didn't like it. How can you tell if a chicken doesn't like its shed? Well, my own personal opinion is you build two sheds, and whichever shed the chicken goes into is the one it likes. Ronnie, I don't know, said Mother. I don't know anything about your uncle's chickens. I don't know. I don't want to know. Your father has got a new electronic system worked out. When a chicken lays an egg, a light goes on over your father's bed. Ronnie didn't like the sound of that story at all. But further questioning was useless. Mum was already getting annoyed, and in any case he had to go and buy some more toothpaste. Mum gave him the money, glad to be rid of him for a little while, for she was engrossed in her cushion-making, and Ronnie set off for the chemist. As he entered the shop, he saw the chemist looming behind the counter. Yes? He inquired with a friendly leer that set Ronnie's hair on end and would have had a dog barking immediately. What can I do for you, my little boy? Ronnie didn't like being called a little boy. I want a large tube of toothpaste, please, he said. What sort? Asked the chemist, his smile devouring the screen. Ronnie held onto the counter. The sort with messages in. I don't know what you mean, replied the chemist, but his grin froze as though he had lockjaw. Ronnie knew he could not trust the chemist. He might be helping to capture people and send them to the mysterious toothpaste factory to make toothpaste all day. Would you mind shutting the door, little boy? Said the chemist. I'll shut it on the way out. Oh, thank you. Here's your mother's usual brand. The chemist plucked a tube of toothpaste from under the counter and thrust it towards Ronnie. Ronnie stared at him. Are you sure? I'm very sure. Very, very sure. The chemist began to edge around the counter. Quickly, Ronnie paid him. Fortunately, he had the exact money, which he placed on the counter, not into the chemist's extended hand, that reached towards him like a bulldozer's shovel. Don't go! I have a free sample of cough sweets here. I don't have a free sample cough. Bye-bye. Ronnie hurriedly left the shop. Down the road he stopped and took out his toothbrush, which he brought with him to save time. He unscrewed the cap of the new tube and squeezed out the toothpaste. Yes! There was another message. Help! There's not much time. The chemist suddenly appeared beside him. You forgot your change, little boy. There wasn't any. Oh, yes. Twopence off on Thursdays. What are you doing? I was cleaning my teeth before they decay, said Ronnie, and he shoved the brush into his mouth. Toffees? Toffees mean rapid tooth decay, Ronnie explained with his mouth full of toothpaste. I always clean my teeth in the street if I have a toffee. Very commendable. Come back inside the shop and rinse your mouth out. It's full of toothpaste. Good, said Ronnie. Good what? Said the chemist. Goodbye. And Ronnie ran down the street and escaped. As he turned the corner, he glanced round and saw the chemist was walking back to his shop. He slowed down. That was a close shave. He laughed. How could cleaning your teeth be a close shave? Still, he'd put the chemist off the scent. What should he do next? He was probably the only person in the world who knew about the toothpaste factory and the people who were being imprisoned there. Dear God, what shall I do next, he prayed. Help me to rescue those poor prisoners. Amen. P.S. Thanks for the adventure. Uncle Roger's house was nearby. Ronnie decided to call in and see him and his chickens. Perhaps Dad was still there. He'd know what to do. But when he arrived at Uncle Roger's house, there was no one there. Even the chicken coop was empty. A note was pinned to the back of the shed. Gone to buy more toothpaste. That couldn't be a chicken. And why would Uncle Roger take his chickens with him when he went to buy more toothpaste? This was unusual, even for Uncle Roger. Things were definitely not as they should be. Ronnie went home and tried to talk to Mum. She could share this adventure. It would be good for her boredom. Better than making cushions. I think the chemist is in the plot, said Ronnie. I'm going to watch out for the toothpaste lorry and follow it back to the factory. Mum, It's full of political prisoners, and Uncle Roger has gone to buy more toothpaste with his chickens, and that's not normal, Mum. Something must be done. Political prisoners? Uncle Roger's chickens? Oh, nonsense. What are you talking about? I'll show you, Mum. Then you'll believe me. Ronnie started squeezing the tube all over the furniture. You'll see the message, then you'll understand, Mum. But there was no message on the furniture. Go to bed, Ronnie. Mum wasn't unkind, but she could be firm. So Ronnie went to bed to wait for his father. An explanation was called for. That evening, Dad sat on the end of Ronnie's bed. I've been getting messages from the toothpaste, declared Ronnie. Oh, is that right? Were there any for me? They're from a prisoner, Dad. He's trapped in a toothpaste factory. Oh, I see. That can happen. I had a friend once who was a prisoner in a sausage factory. You mean he was locked in a sausage? He couldn't get out? Oh, they didn't have to lock him in. He needed the money. He got in free. It's what he taught that matters. You see, Ronnie, a person can be trapped and imprisoned by his own thoughts. That's why I'm a free man. Dad smiled. Ronnie knew his father had a wonderful spirit that roamed far away from the big store where he worked. Dad, where were you this afternoon? Well, your Uncle Roger didn't appear to be in, so I took a stroll. Dad, Uncle Roger took his chickens with him when he went to buy a tube of toothpaste. Ah, yes. Well, he's been a bit nervous about those birds recently. Uncle Roger gets very broody at laying time. Dad stood up. Good night, Ronnie. Be careful, Dad. Something strange is happening around here. All right, Ronnie, he replied and went downstairs. Ronnie couldn't sleep. As he lay awake, he heard his parents arguing about him. You're too easy on that boy. Easy does it. What's the hurry? He imagines all sorts of things. It's true, Ronnie thought. I do sometimes invent adventures and act them out, but not this time. Those messages were real. The chemist was real. Ronnie was wide awake. Perhaps if he left home, Mum and Dad would stop arguing about him. It was no good. He couldn't sleep. He got up and looked out of his bedroom window. The road was empty except for a lorry which had pulled up under a lamppost. It was a toothpaste lorry. On the side of it was written, "Buy Glum's toothpaste for bad teeth. Stop them getting worse with Glum's." What was the lorry doing outside his house? Glum's was the toothpaste that the family used, the one with the messages in. Had they come from the factory to capture him too? Perhaps he knew too much. He gazed down at the lorry. No one moved. Then he heard his front door close, and Dad came out carrying a suitcase. Oh, no! He was leaving home again. Ronnie hoped it wasn't because they'd had a row over him. Come back, Dad, Ronnie wanted to call out. Tell her you're sorry. But before he could open the window and shout after Dad, two men had leaped out of the toothpaste lorry and jumped onto his father. They put something over his mouth until he went unconscious. Then they loaded him into the back of the lorry and threw his case in after him. Tomorrow you'll find out what happened next week. Goodbye. Ronnie was cleaning his teeth one morning when he saw something written in the ribbon of paste on his brush. Help, I'm a prisoner in a toothpaste factory. Later, when he managed to escape from the chemist's clutches, he found another message saying, help, there's not much time. When he tried to tell Mum about his fears, she just sent Ronnie to bed. That night, Ronnie couldn't sleep. He got out of bed, looked out of the bedroom window. There was a lorry parked outside. And just as Ronnie noticed that it was a toothpaste lorry, Dad came out of the front door carrying a suitcase. Suddenly, two men leaped out of the lorry and jumped on Dad. Wallop, crash, thud. They put something over his mouth which made him unconscious and then loaded him into the back of the lorry. Ronnie ran downstairs. Dad's been kidnapped by the toothpaste men, he yelled. Sit down, Ronnie. Mum looked up from her cushion. You've had a bad dream. Sit down, son. You never believe me. They've taken Dad away. And Ronnie burst into tears. There, said Mum, putting her arms around him. They put him in a big lorry. A Glum's lorry. Your father has gone to stay with Uncle Roger for a while. They'll both be in the toothpaste factory, Mum. Prisoners for life. Where's the box the toothpaste came in? Asked Mum suddenly. It's upstairs. I'll fetch it. Ronnie tore up the escalator, grabbed the carton, and rushed down again. Already Mum had got her coat on. Where are we going? Asked Ronnie. To Glum's toothpaste factory, said Mum. We'll settle this once and for all. Wait a minute. I'll put my clothes on. I'll make a note of the address. Ronnie threw his clothes on in no time at all. This was some adventure. Good old Mum. She always turned up trumps in the end. I'm ready, Mum. Let's go. He burst into the kitchen to find that Mum had vanished. The toothpaste carton was on the table. Ronnie picked it up and stepped out into the night. Where had she gone? And why? He looked at the address in the box and read it out loud. Glum's Products! Glum Lane! Glumley Gums! Very loudly. Gums. A voice spoke in the night. Yes, said Ronnie bravely. Glum's on sea.
There's no such place. It's a false address.
A man stepped out of the darkness, tall, thin, and toothless.
They took all my teeth out, he said.
Who did?
Them.
The man cringed in terror.
They did. I tried to change my brand, you see.
Who did? What brand? Ronnie wanted to know. Was it Glum's? Ah! The man vanished into the night as suddenly as he'd appeared. Come back, shouted Ronnie. But he was all alone. He went down a dark alley which he was pretty sure the men had taken, and he came out by the river. It was very dark and lonely. Ronnie was just wondering which way he could go when he heard a familiar sound. Chickens! It was definitely chickens. The moon gleamed for a moment on the river, and Ronnie saw an old houseboat. The sound was coming from there. A hatch opened, and Uncle Roger stepped out. In the moonlight, he looked a mad sight. In the daylight, he looked a mad sight. There wasn't that much difference. Welcome aboard, he said. Jump on. Ronnie jumped aboard. Now, would you like some cocoa? Yes, please. So would I. Pity we haven't got any. Uncle Roger laughed and squawked. Ha, 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 ha. Sorry, he said. Spent too many times with them chickens. Hard a cardboard, noggle the kipper, and off we go! The boat drifted down the river. Where are we going? Asked Ronnie. A good question. The further the better. I'm very frightened, man, but I've still got my teeth. That's the main thing. Were they going to take your teeth out as well? Asked Ronnie. I didn't stay to ask. Pardon, said Uncle Roger. You see, Ronnie, you know that chemist. Well, I went there for some toothpaste, and I had a strange compulsion to buy Glum's again. But in the shop, I decided to fight off the urge, so I asked for another brand. But why did you take the chickens with you, Uncle Roger? I needed moral support, moral chicken support. You see, Ronnie, I knew I was in the presence of evil. Pardon. I nearly went back and apologized and bought 3 packets of Glum, but the chickens weren't having any of it. They sensed the evil as well. Not one egg have they laid since I bought that first tube of Glum's. I waited till dusk and then came to my boat. We're emigrating to Australia. But there is an unearthly attraction about Glum's products, Ronnie, which fills me with dread. Dread. It must affect some people quicker than others, said Ronnie thoughtfully. I could turn this boat round now and ask the chemist to let me spend the rest of my life making toothpaste for Glum's. Oh, the honour of it. Let's turn back. No, keep going, Ronnie said firmly. So, it had come to this. Glum's toothpaste must contain some drug or chemical which kept the user coming back for more. He supposed that, being young, he was better able to resist the effects of those terrible chemicals. But Uncle Roger was known to be a weak character. His dependence on the wicked toothpaste was a warning to everyone. I know I'm a weak character, muttered Uncle Roger. Hark! Pardon? Let me be a warning to everyone who's weak. The small houseboat chugged quietly down the river towards the estuary. It was warm in the wheelhouse, and the chickens dozed off. Ronnie dozed off, and Uncle Roger dozed off. Finally, the boat dozed off and bumped into the river bank, but came to no great harm. Gradually, they tacked out towards the sea. At dawn, Uncle Roger awoke, scratched his neck, it was very low down, and let out a loud, "Oh!" Sorry, he said, it'll wear off. Ronnie went on deck, and looking at the lightning sky, was very pleased. Wait, was that the moon rising? But how could it be? At dawn? A pale ball seemed to be growing on the horizon and climbing into the sky. The sun hadn't appeared yet, and perhaps he was imagining things. Uncle Roger came on deck. Perhaps we'd better call into a port and get some toothpaste, he said, shuffling his feet. No, Uncle Roger, you're in enough trouble with the chickens already. Quack, quack! Uncle Roger sniffed the sea air. Here, let's go fishing and catch a few for breakfast. There's herds of mackerel below in the fathoms 5. They cast some lines over the side. Ronnie scanned the sky. No sign of that strange ball. Soon they caught some mackerel, and Uncle Roger fried them. The sun was up. What a wonderful place to have breakfast. The chickens came out on deck and arranged themselves in the morning sunshine. Ronnie was happy. Chickens was happy. He was sure something would turn up to save the day. It always did. Suddenly, the ball that Ronnie had spotted in the sky was hovering over them. It had appeared out of nowhere, seemingly, and hung about 200 feet above them, spinning and shimmering in the sunlight. It was metal. It was more pear-shaped. He could see it now, rather than like a ball. It was definitely not the moon. It was, an unidentified flying object. Ronnie felt an irresistible magnetic pull. Silently, the object drew Uncle Roger's boat towards it in a spout of water. The door slid open in the underside of the spacecraft, and the houseboat, Ronnie, Uncle Roger, and the chickens disappeared up into it. The doors closed as the water spout fell away, cascading back into the sea. The pear-shaped object hovered an instant and vanished. The houseboat nestled in the hatch of the spacecraft. Ronnie, Uncle Roger, and the chickens were still on deck getting accustomed to their new surroundings. A voice chimed out on the public address system. "Stand by for decontamination process." A fine spray filled the chamber like a mist. The chickens began pecking around as if nothing unusual was happening. The mist cleared and a warmth enveloped them. A door slid open above them in the upper gallery. The chemist stepped through, flanked by two beings crowned with antennae. "Hey, look," said Uncle Roger. "They got antennae sticking out of their nuts. I wonder if they can get all the TV channels on those aerials." "Aren't you frightened?" whispered Ronnie.
"Frightened? Should I be frightened? I didn't know that. My responses are very slow, you see. It's because of my weak character."
The chemist surveyed the scene. "Hello, little boy," he said. Ronnie didn't like being called a little boy. "You forgot your tuppence off. Here it is." The chemist produced a coin and held it up.
"Oops, that's a good bargain, that is," muttered Uncle Roger, and called out, "I'll have 3 tubes, please. Glums."
"Ah," said the chemist. "You refused when you had the chance on Earth."
"I was worried about the chickens scratching and doing things in your shop, sir."
"You bought an alien brand," the chemist rebuked him. "Made on Earth." "You mean Glums isn't made on Earth?" Ronnie said quickly. "I asked the questions round here, little boy." The chemist leered. Leer. "You, your uncles, and those chicken things. Follow me." They all proceeded up the stairway to the gallery.
"Have you got another branch in this area?" Uncle Roger wheedled ingratiatingly. "I'm right out of toothpaste and glums, if for me."
"You shut up!" the chemist snapped.
"Me? Shut up? Well, that's easier said than done, but I'll make an effort." "Oh, sorry about that."
"Shh!" hissed Ronnie as they followed the chemist.
"He doesn't like you, Uncle Roger." "Nobody does. I'm trying to win him over with a few pleasantries."
"Silence!" commanded the chemist.
"He's golden," supplied Uncle Roger, "and the stitching time saves 9. Say all of us."
"We know how to deal with your sort," growled the chemist.
"You mean they're more like me? I thought I was unique in the utter weakness of my personality."
"Keep quiet!"
"I am keeping quiet. It's you that's doing the shouting. Sometimes I don't speak for days. You wouldn't like that. I think that's why my wife ran off with a Madagascan seaman."
They were walking down a corridor which curved gently and followed the contours of the craft. The chickens fluttered about, alighting on various persons. If the strangers with the antenna could be called persons, that is. One of the chickens had taken perch on an antenna. "I am getting interference," articulated the humanoid creature.
"Oh, do you need a license for those antennae?" asked Uncle Roger.
"I am not allowed to speak to you," uttered the humanoid.
"It's nothing personal, I hope," quipped Uncle Roger.
Oh, the old twit. He seemed in remarkably good spirits. "I know why you're so cheerful, Uncle Roger," whispered Ronnie. "It's because you think you can get hold of some more glums, isn't it? You know it's bad for you. There's a drug in it that forces you to keep going back for more."
"Why, that saves you having to remember to put it on your shopping list," beamed Uncle Roger.
"Right. How many times have we walked around this corridor?" the chemist asked irritably.
3 times,
said the humanoid. "Why didn't you tell me? Blast your tentacles! All these doors look alike. Where is the master?"
"Everywhere. I am the presence of the spacecraft," a voice boomed. "What have you to report, Mr. Chemist?"
"These are the 2 suspects who didn't cooperate with the market survey, your most high commodity." The chemist bowed his head reverently.
"I am Glum,"
boomed the voice. The chemist and the humanoids began to chant,
"Glum, glum,
to captivate mum. Buy a tube today, clean your teeth
It's our belief, for thus you'll always stay.
Very good,
Said the voice of the master, his most high commodity.
take the prisoners to the dental care.
What happens there? I'll tell you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Ronnie had found a message in the ribbon of toothpaste saying, "Help! I am a prisoner in a toothpaste factory." After escaping from the chemist's clutches, he found another message saying, "Help! There's not much time." Then his mum and dad disappeared, and Ronnie thought he would seek Uncle Roger's help. Uncle Roger was on his houseboat with the chickens, so Ronnie joined him on board, and they drifted off down the river. Suddenly, a ball appeared in the sky and hovered above the houseboat. Ronnie felt a magnetic pull, and the houseboat was sucked into a spacecraft. The chemist appeared and accused Ronnie of buying an alien brand of toothpaste. "We know how to deal with your shot," he growled, and summoned two beings with antennae to escort them away. Suddenly a voice boomed out saying, "I am Glum, the presence of the spacecraft. Take the prisoners to dental care." An inner door in the corridor slid open. They went through it, and the door closed behind them. They were in a dental surgery.
Right,
Said the dentist, another humanoid.
let's have you in the chair then.
Without hesitation, Ronnie jumped into the chair. He'd been taught that dentists were nothing to be frightened of, and this one seemed very friendly.
Hello,
Said the dentist.
have you been using Glum?
"Yes," said Ronnie bravely.
Open wide. Ah, what nice teeth you've got.
"I don't eat any sweets, and I clean my teeth regularly," Ronnie replied.
I can see that.
The dentist said.
Keep up the good work. Next.
The chemist scowled. "You're a very fortunate little boy that you don't try to change your brand." He pointed to Uncle Roger. "Here's one who did."
Oh,
Said the dentist.
is he for the factory?
"Yes," the chemist replied with great satisfaction. "But first, you must destroy his personality by taking all his choppers out. The usual procedure." Uncle Roger immediately began scratching the floor.
Buck, 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 buck. There's no need to destroy my personality. Buck, 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 buck. I haven't got one. I even think I'm a chicken on some days.
He leaped onto a desk, perched there, and went, "Cock-a-doodle-doo!" The chickens immediately rushed around him.
He might be more useful as he is.
Observed the dentist. "Oh, I am. Buck, buck, I am."
I'll do anything you want, Uncle Roger replied. I'll betray anybody. In fact, taping my choppers out might strengthen my personality. It couldn't possibly make it any worse.
This man's character is utterly weak and totally destroyed already,
Pronounced the dentist.
I'd be wasting my time taking his choppers out.
"Ah, but he might have some last vestige of resistance," the chemist argued.
No, said Uncle Roger. I long to work in your factory. It would be the greatest honour I could imagine.
Next.
Said the dentist, and Uncle Roger was pushed out of the chair. The voice boomed out again, the voice of his most high commodity tuppence off, thought Ronnie.
We are under investigation. The Galactic Trade Commission is examining our product. Proceed with utmost caution.
"Blast!" said the chemist. "What we feared most. Why can't they mind their own business? Is there no such thing as intergalactic free enterprise? It must be Venice. They've been complaining about us. They've got their own brand of toothpaste, Ventron. So they're trying to get us into trouble with the Galactic Trade Commission. Blast, blast, blast. And nasty frog's eyes. You're trying to take over the world with Glum, Ronnie accused the chemist. And what if we are, the chemist snarled. You are all trying to take over each other. It's quite natural. What planet are you from, demanded Ronnie, hoping to get all the facts while the chemist was upset and off his guard. Glumdonis! We're from another galaxy. We are a race of salesmen, ever seeking new markets, new horizons. Sell, sell, sell! Never mind the cost. We're super salesmen gone mad! Mad, mad! But, interrupted Ronnie, if your product is the best, you don't really have to bully us into using it. Don't you believe in your own product? Ah! The chemist collapsed in the dentist's chair. There's the rub, he moaned. The rub? The rub! He sat up. Rub it on, rub Glum on, a new approach. Rub it on something. He slumped back into the chair.
Open wide, said the dentist. Yes, that's a nasty cavity.
Leaving the chemist in the dentist's chair, Ronnie and Uncle and the chickens were led back to the chamber in which their boat lay. They climbed back on board.
Did you notice, said Uncle Roger, that chemist had two little holes in the top of his nut? He's not human either.
Ronnie thought about this. Ah, they've taken away his antenna, that's what they've done.
Ah, yes, Uncle Roger nodded wisely. I bet he hasn't been paying his licence money.
The floor of the chamber opened, and a water spout came up to meet them. The boat dropped gently onto it. The spout fell back to the ocean, and they fell back with it. The beautiful spinning spacecraft hovered over them and then moved rapidly away and vanished.
It's time to head for home, said Uncle Roger. We give Australia a miss today, shall we?
It was late afternoon, but of which day they couldn't be sure. The fight's not over, said Ronnie. I've still got to find Mum and Dad, and I've still got to rescue the prisoners. It was warm, very warm. The coastline looked unfamiliar.
India, announced Uncle Roger. All ashore for India.
They beached in a sandy cove where unfamiliar trees stirred their leaves in a soft wave of welcome. How can you be sure it's India? Asked Ronnie.
I've never been sure of anything, answered Uncle Roger, but I've found that saying so often makes it so. Care for a mango?
He picked a luscious-looking ripe fruit from a tree. Mmm, said Ronnie. Delicious!
They are mangoes, aren't they? Inquired Uncle Roger. That would most likely make it India.
What do mangoes taste like? Ronnie was enjoying the fruit.
They taste like the things you eat.
Then this must be India, said Ronnie, because it tastes like something I'm eating.
Yes, said Uncle.
Shall we have a swim? Asked Ronnie. It's so warm. They sported in the shallow waves that lapped the white sand, while the chickens pecked and scratched inshore. One of them laid an egg. Uncle Roger leaped out of the water and raced towards it.
Eureka! He shouted. I've found it.
As he reached to grab the egg, a brown hand picked it up. An Indian looked over the sand dune. I confiscate this egg on behalf of the Indian government, he said. Why? I confiscate everything on behalf of the Indian government. That's why everything that comes ashore, that is customs and exercise.
Don't you mean excise?
No, I mean exercise. They haven't issued me with a bicycle yet.
That egg was laid ashore, Uncle Roger argued.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
The chicken, said Uncle Roger.
Then an age-old riddle is solved. The Indian gave Uncle Roger the egg. What are you trying to smuggle ashore?
Nothing, replied Uncle Roger. We were on our way to Australia to sell an egg. We got picked up by a spacecraft and give us a lift part of the way. See?
That's a likely story.
Well, it's the only one you're likely to get from us.
Oh, truth is stranger than friction, observed the Indian. My name is Singesh Singh. I used to work in a laundry. I singed everything. Now I'm a customs officer. Is there a toothpaste factory around here? Asked Ronnie. Singesh Singh looked suddenly frightened. That's not a good question to ask around these parts. Are you a glum user? Persisted Ronnie. Glum? Glum? Yes. The Indian looked miserable. It is sweeping our continent. Everything even got curried glum. Who will rid us of this curse? I will, said Ronnie firmly.
Where can I get some? Asked Uncle Roger.
No, Uncle Roger, we don't need it, said Ronnie.
Don't I? Uncle Roger looked dejected.
I have got some here. Singesh Singh produced a tube of curried glum's toothpaste. Ronnie grabbed it, raced to the water's edge, and threw it far out into the sea. When he turned back, it was dark. He saw his uncle and Singesh Singh fading into the night. They'd gone to get more toothpaste, he thought. He could hear a faint clucking in the distance. Now, that could be Uncle Roger or the chickens, or either or the other, or whichever came first. He set off after them, thinking over the problem. True, Glum's products were in trouble with the Galactic Trade Commission, but this might make them all the more determined to dominate the Earth. And how many other planets were they planning to take over with this abominable toothpaste? They might even take over the Galactic Trade Commission in Bengal. Ronnie's task seemed immense. Dear God, he said, please help me find Mum and Dad and rescue the prisoners in the toothpaste factory. The stars came out and winked at him, and Ronnie felt less lonely. He stopped and listened. He could no longer hear the clucking of Uncle Roger or the chickens. He was lost. An orange ball appeared overhead. It wasn't the spacecraft he'd seen before, nor was it the moon. That was up already. The ball grew bigger and bigger. Or was it coming closer? A voice echoed from the heavens.
This is the Galactic Trade Commission. We are bearing you aboard. Stand by.
Ronnie immediately felt himself disintegrating. It was a lovely feeling, like when he was ill once, and he seemed to be floating away from his body. He wasn't worried, only curious about what was going on. He came to in a room of golden metal. A benevolent-looking creature with 3 antennae was sitting behind a desk.
Hello, he said. Welcome, Ronnie. We're looking into some complaints we've had about Glum products. Now, we need some evidence against them, and we think that you can provide it. However, whatever decision we make must be fair and impartial and based upon the facts available to us.
They're taking everybody's teeth out, said Ronnie.
True, but this could be viewed as a kindly act of dental hygiene. We need something more substantial in the way of evidence.
But people are frightened.
That's not good enough. Sometimes people are frightened of good things because they can't understand them. On the other hand, they are often not frightened of bad things because of their ignorance. Really, they should fear less and less as they gain in wisdom. But it's a long process,
sighed the Galactic Trade Commissioner. They are prisoners in a toothpaste factory.
Yes, but they're willing. Most of them are addicted to the toothpaste, but willing. It's a difficult problem. It's a matter of balance of evidence. We need something else. You're a bright boy. Maybe you can help us.
Ronnie racked his brains. Rack. Of course, the breakfast tapes. Look, my father has tape recorded our breakfast conversations, he said very excitedly.
Most interesting.
But the point is, sir, that recently there's been a lot of trouble in my family, ever since we started using Glum's toothpaste. Arguments, some of them are funny, but these last few weeks, Mum and Dad haven't been getting on at all like they used to.
Let's beam the tapes up,
suggested the Commissioner. They went to a strange-looking machine. The Commissioner showed Ronnie a screen on which they could pinpoint any place in the world. Yes, that's my house. And Ronnie pointed out the focus on the district they were pointing to.
Right, said the Commissioner. I will now demonstrate the power of telekinesis.
What's that, Ronnie?
I'll show you. It's moving objects through space using the power of the mind. Stand back now.
The Commissioner went into a trance. The central antenna on his forehead began to vibrate.
I use no machinery, he said. I've got past that stage. I'm a black belt telekinesis expert.
Suddenly the tapes appeared in his hand.
Right, let's put them on the machine.
They couldn't help laughing as they listened to the tape, especially the cat tape.
This should do the trick, said the Commissioner, looking suddenly serious. These provide definite evidence of family disturbance caused by Glum's products. This could well swing the balance of evidence with the Galactic Trade Commission. He stood up and held out his hand. Thank you, Ronnie, he said. Can we drop you off anywhere?
I must get to the toothpaste factory, Ronnie answered. There are people in trouble there.
I'm afraid we can't act on that until we get the firm decision from the Commission. But I can beam you down anywhere you like.
The toothpaste factory, please, said Ronnie.
That's in Upper Bengal. Farewell, Ronnie. Good hunting.
Tomorrow I'll tell you what happens next. Until then, goodbye. Ronnie and Uncle Roger had been allowed to leave Glum's spacecraft, but Ronnie was still determined to rescue the prisoners in the toothpaste factory. The Galactic Trade Commission appeared in the sky and beamed Ronnie aboard. The Commissioner told Ronnie that they needed evidence against the Glum products because complaints had been made about them. Ronnie remembered his dad's breakfast tapes. The Commissioner went into a trance and his antennae started to vibrate. Suddenly, the tapes appeared in his hands. When they had heard the evidence, the Commissioner thanked Ronnie.
I'm afraid we can't act until we get a firm decision from the Commission, but I can beam you down anywhere you like.
The toothpaste factory, please, said Ronnie.
That's in Upper Bengal. Farewell, Ronnie. Good hunting.
Ronnie felt himself disintegrating again, the same strange sensation of being disconnected from everything and yet having a lively interest in it all. He came to land on a mountain plateau. It was cold. He was on his own again, but once more he could hear the sounds of chickens. He began to make his way towards some lights that beckoned him across the plateau. As Ronnie approached the lights, they disappeared, seeming to sink into the ground. The plateau was surrounded by mountain peaks. It glistened white as the moonlight reflected from the heights. Ronnie shivered. He took a deep breath and felt better. A peal of laughter made him spin on his heels. Under a tree, the only tree for miles, sat an old man squatting on the ground and rocking with laughter. Why are you laughing? Asked Ronnie.
Once you start laughing, you can see the funny side of things.
The old man pealed with laughter again.
Ding dong dong dong. It's wonderful. You should try it.
Ronnie sat down. I'd like to hear a good joke first, he explained.
Oh, well, in that case, how about this one? There was an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotchman.
He clutched his stomach with laughter. Is that all? Said Ronnie. The old man's skin was as cold as the icy peaks. Who are you? Asked Ronnie.
I'm a yogi.
What's that?
I was hoping you might be able to tell me. I've spent my lifetime trying to find out.
Ronnie shivered with the cold. Silly to shiver with the heat. The yogi's skin began to radiate heat like an electric fire. He laughed.
There, he said.
That is warmer for you. That will be 3 rupees, please. Put it in my unnumbered Swiss bank account. Now, what can I do for you? Can you tell me where to find the toothpaste factory? Oh, it is in your mind, and it will materialize till the fullness of time. You were born for adventure, Ronnie. Therefore, adventure must come your way. Can you help me to defeat Glum's toothpaste? Asked Ronnie. Well, Ronnie Bapuji, there are 2 sides to the problem. There's the toothpaste and the teeth, and there's the people's desire for the toothpaste. Take away people's desires for Glum toothpaste, and the market will collapse. But as most people are not yet ready for that, you had better concentrate on removing the toothpaste. The old man roared with laughter and began to float in the air. I must go now, Ronnie. It's been a great pleasure meeting you. He hovered in the air, about 3 feet above the ground, still in the sitting position. Good luck with your search. Don't forget to see the funny side of things, and above all, I am above all. The yogi floated away on a peal of laughter. He seemed to merge into the mountaintops and become one with those snowy wastes. And there was the factory. How could Ronnie have missed it? He ran towards it. A fence of barbed wire confronted him, lit by searchlights. Shadowy figures wearily lifted objects and hauled trucks beyond the glare around the perimeter fence. How was he to get in? Hands grabbed him. Getting in wasn't going to be a problem. The chemist leered as Ronnie was pushed into his office. He looked different. Then Ronnie realized that the teeth in his terrible smile were missing. Hello, little boy. Ronnie didn't like being called hello, little boy. Where are my mum and dad? He demanded. All in good time. First, what did you tell the Galactic Trade Commission? I fear you have been in contact with them, but it won't work. We are a large company. We have influence in the galaxy beyond our wildest dreams. Our shareholders stretch to the far reaches. He waved his hand as though to indicate immeasurable distances and knocked over a couple of humanoids. You cannot bring down such an empire with a mere complaint from a user, a wretched consumer. You are the smallest cog in our vast sales campaign. The consumer is the most important consideration in any sales campaign, said Ronnie bravely. Ah! The chemist reached towards him, but restrained himself. No! We have a better idea for you. What is it? I'll think of it in a minute. The chemist was running out of steam. Ronnie was sure of it. It must be something to do with the fact that his teeth had been removed. Yet Ronnie sensed that the man could still be dangerous. The chemist's voice interrupted his thoughts. Yes, little boy. I'll show you the extent of my power. He turned to the humanoids that guarded the room. Bring her in. A door opened and Mum was brought in. Oh, Mum! Mum stared at Ronnie. I'm a Glum mum now, Ronnie, she said. I put Glum products first. Before my family, before everything. I use Glum's toothpaste, Glum's floor polish, Glum's shoe polish, Glum's floor polish for the second time, Glum's hand cream, Glum's nail varnish, Glum's... That's enough, said the chemist with great satisfaction. Now, come with us, Ronnie, and see how our little factory works. Never mind, Mum, said Ronnie. Oh, I don't mind, Ronnie, said Mum dully. In the cold air outside, Ronnie thought he could hear a peal of laughter. The yogi? How could he laugh at such a situation? Then Ronnie remembered. Don't forget to see the funny side of things. He took great heart as he breathed in deeply. The darkest hour was always before the dawn, and soon the night sky would lighten. They found Uncle Roger pushing a big truck, the chickens perched on top of it. Hello, Ronnie, he said cheerfully. Isn't it wonderful? All the toothpaste I can eat. Pardon? He took out a tube of toothpaste and squeezed some into his mouth. By golly, that was good. He hadn't even used a toothbrush. Had Uncle Roger come to that? Where's your egg? Asked Ronnie, hoping to stir his uncle into some kind of rebellion. Did they take it away from you? You know how long you waited for your chickens to lay that egg. Doesn't that egg mean anything to you anymore? Momentarily, panic flitted across Uncle Roger's face. My egg. They took it, but they gave me Glum's toothpaste. My egg? The egg? Yes. Who's sitting on it? Are any of your birds sitting on it? No. They took it. The chickens looked at Uncle Roger as if to say, we lay the eggs, it's up to you to look after them. Don't look at me like that. Uncle Roger picked the stone up as if to chuck it at the chickens. What am I doing? He threw the stone down and said to Ronnie miserably, why did you come here? You're spoiling the fun. He took another squeeze of toothpaste and pushed the truck away. A bowed and broken figure. Now, said the chemist, little boy. He didn't like being called little boy. He rocked with power and swayed with glory. I'll show you your father. Follow me. He led them into a long shed where a truly miserable sight met Ronnie's eyes. Crumpled grey figures attended incredible machines that ticked, rocked, shook and roared as they churned out endless foul glum products. Occasionally a prisoner would reach into his pocket for a nip of toothpaste, and a spark of life would seem to tremble back through his forlorn body. "Attention!" ordered a humanoid. All the prisoners stood to attention beside the machines and sang a song in praise of glum. "Isn't it beautiful?" exclaimed the chemist. "Composed by one of our prisoners." "Uncle Roger?" asked Ronnie. "Yes, in gratitude us for looking after his egg. We have it safe in our safe. But come, this way." Down the end of the shed, behind a huge vat, they found Dad. He still had his teeth in. They let me keep them so that my pipe wouldn't fall out of my mouth or go down my throat," explained Dad. "'Tis a grand life here. I'm a free man, and I can choose... What's the word now? Glum," said the chemist. "And if you want to keep those teeth, you ought to remember it. Glums. Sorry, Your Honour. Glums." Dad bent down over the vat, stirring the toothpaste mixture in it. "Get to work, Ronnie," said the chemist. "You'll soon be happy here. You'll be our first happy family working here. That would convince the Galactic Trade Commission of how good we are." "Yes," said Mum. "You'll soon be happy here like us, Ronnie. We've never had it so good," as she stared vacantly ahead. "Mum, can't you remember what it was like to be really happy?" Suddenly the roof shook. The building trembled.
"This is the Galactic Trade Commissioner," a voice boomed. "We have a ruling on Glum's product."
At last, thought Ronnie, and only just in time.
"We find there is not enough evidence against Glum's product to discontinue their production. That is all. Roger Livesey and out."
Ronnie felt an overwhelming disappointment. How could the Trade Commission make such a bad decision? He heard laughter. It was the yogi. "How can he laugh now?" shouted Ronnie towards the roof, where he imagined the laughter was coming from. The yogi appeared, hovering near the ceiling, still in the same position. "Ronnie, what's wrong with you? Fear not. Laugh, laugh, as if your life depended on it. Try and see the funny side." The yogi disappeared. Had anyone else seen him? Ronnie didn't know. He looked at the dismal scene. What was there to laugh about? At that moment, Uncle Roger staggered and said to the chemist,
"Do you think if I'm very good I could have a look at my little egg every Saturday afternoon?" he asked. "Or am I asking too much if I could at least write to it every Christmas?"
Dad began to laugh.
"Dear egg," raved Uncle Roger, "it would be nice if you could visit us this year. Signed, Egg Lover."
Even Mum was laughing.
"What are you laughing at? You're not supposed to laugh here,"
growled the chemist. Uncle Roger started to laugh.
"What are you laughing at?"
barked the chemist.
"I don't know, sir. I'm only laughing because the other people are laughing. It's my weak character and loss of egg."
The chickens clucked sympathetically. "Cluck, cluck, cluck, cluck-a-doo-doo-doo," screeched Uncle Roger.
An egg, my kingdom for a little egg."
The rest of the prisoners began to laugh. Suddenly, Mum pushed the chemist into the vat of toothpaste. He looked so funny, floundering in the ribboned mixture. They howled with laughter. Hoots of joy raised the roof, and the yogi's peals of mirth could be heard ringing amongst them. Outside, in the dawn sky, the orange spacecraft of the Galactic Trade Commission hesitated. The commissioner was looking at the scanner screen. He could see everyone doubled up with laughter.
"Our ruling is nothing to laugh about," he said. "I don't know, though."
"There's a message for you, sir,"
said one of the crew. The commissioner read it out loud.
"Overlooked the tapes. Plenty of laughs, but they show definite signs of disruption of family life by Glum's product. Trade Commissioner ruling reversed." "Well," said the commissioner, as he looked down on the laughing prisoners, "that's that. They took the law into their own hands. They didn't agree with our decision. I am glad the decision in their favour came out late, or they might not have known that they had the power within themselves to begin putting things right." The scanner moved to include Uncle Roger and the chickens. The commissioner burst out laughing. "Make arrangements," he sputtered, "to have the factory blown up." They watched Uncle Roger rush to the office and force open the safe. The eggshell lay in pieces. A tiny chick jumped out and perched on Uncle Roger's hand. His eyes filled with tears. Transportation was arranged, and soon all the prisoners had been beamed back to their own homes. Glum's toothpaste quickly disappeared off the market. The old chemist shop was pulled down, and a parking lot was put in its place.
"There's progress for you, Ronnie," said Dad as they walked past the place.
"Have you heard from Uncle Roger recently?" "Yes, he decided to stay in India, Dad. He met a yogi, a wise man, who's helping him. What? To be a stronger character? No, to look after the chickens. They like it there. They're laying lots of eggs. They went home. Mum was making cushions. Dad kissed her lightly on the cheek. You haven't done that for ages, dear, she said. Well, said Dad, I've been working a lot of overtime lately at the factory. When Ronnie went to bed that night, he prayed hard, thanking God for a wonderful adventure. Dear God, he said, if Mum gets bored again, we might need another one. He heard laughter, and for a moment he felt the coolness of the mountains. He breathed deeply, and it was the air, crisp and fine, of the Bengal plateau. Ronnie fell into a deep, curried sleep. Goodbye.